Division 2, same directions, we just have to factor this thing. So we're going to check for a GCF first. I check my numbers. I got a 5 and a 125. These both end in 5. Now 5 is only divisible by 5. So if I need my calculator at this point, just depending on your skill level, okay, 125, if I divide that by 5, you can see, it's a 25. So I'm going to take a 5 out of both of these, and when we take it out, what we want to think of it is division. So I'm taking out a 5 from each one. I'm going to record on the outside after I take it out what it is I have factored out. But while I'm doing that, I also want to check my variables. I can have x to the 5th here, but I've only got 3 here, so the most they have in common is 3. And so I'm also going to take out an x cubed. Again, that's like dividing it away. And so I got to keep track of the x cubed that I'm taking out. And then what's left? Well, let's see here. When I divide this by 5, I get 5 divided by 5 is 1. And remember, division with exponents, as long as the bases are the same, and these are both x's, all we have to do is subtract that. So we had an exponent of 5 minus an exponent of 3, leaving me with x squared. Then I've got a negative 125 over 5. And I just saw that when I do that division, I get 25, but it'll be a negative 25. So I'll put minus 25. And here, when I subtract my exponents, well, 3 minus 3 is 0, but x to the 0 is just 1, so we just don't show it. And so I have factored out my 5x cubed. Now, you always check this mentally, and you go 5 times 1 is 5, and x cubed times x squared is x to the 5th. So this would be 5x to the 5th. That's the original. And then 5x cubed times 25. Here we get 5 times 25 is 125, and x cubed then. So it does factor that way. But then I always got to check to see if I can factor further, and this is an x squared. And if it's x squared and you got 2 terms, it could be a difference of squares, and this one is. Let me remind you of the formula for difference of squares. If you've got a squared, so something squared minus b squared, then you get a minus b, a plus b. And so in this example, this is like an x squared minus a 5 that is squared. So the a is the x, the b is the 5. And so I've got my 5x squared out front. But the binomial with the x squared will be an x and an x, and one will have to be a minus 5, just like the formula says, and one would have to be a plus 5. And there's your complete factorization for number 2.